So I'm Katharina Rohrer. I'm Managing Director at the Buchinger Wilhelmi Clinic in Marbella, southern Spain. And today I have the pleasure to give you some tips about what I consider is very important if you do a fast, especially if you do it for the first time. But maybe also if you tried it before and it didn't work out totally well. So my first tip would be, and I think that's in general for life, to find a good balance. So a balance between being stressed, a balance between being in physical activity, and then having also moments of relaxation, of introspectiveness. So that's especially important if you do a fast. If you fast, it's at the beginning you might feel a bit weaker the first days. Your body has to adapt to the new metabolism, to the fasting metabolism. And then it's especially important that you also think about having physical activities, although maybe you don't feel like that. Maybe you feel more like staying in bed and you feel a bit weak, you feel a bit tired. That's also fine. Of course, you have to listen to the body always, but also kick yourself a bit and try to get into the movement. So ideally, once you are already in the fasting metabolism, you have a very good routine, a balanced routine between the physical and the relaxation moments. If you do it here at our clinic, at the Buchinger Wilhelmi Clinic, you will see in the daily program that we provide to you that the activities that we offer are very well thought, so that in the morning you get your metabolism started, you get your energy started, because when waking up, maybe you feel a bit dizzy. That happens to me personally because I have a very low blood pressure. So then really get into the movement, start walking, start stretching, whatever you feel that does good to you. But then also find a pause again to get your body rested because, and then we come to the second tip, don't overload your program. That's a little maybe mistake, if you want to say so, that we see that some people, they are very motivated, which is great, but then they overload their program. So that means they rush from one activity to the other, from one therapy to the other. And at the end of the day, they feel very, very exhausted. And that's not the point of fasting, because fasting should be joyful and can be joyful as well. So that's the point where often our nurses and our doctors, when they look at the program of the patient, they have to say, slow a bit down, take your rest. So if you did 1 hour of physical activity while fasting is great, but then take a little pause again, drink enough. And so at the end, it's really about finding the right balance. And that can be different from one person to the other, of course, because we're all individuals. We all have different lives, different constitutions, different health issues. So find the right balance between the physical and the relaxation part. Both are equally important while doing the fast. So that would be my second tip, the not overloading. Another very important thing that we see here at the clinic is the lack of liquids. So we believe in, and we also see from our experience, that it's very important to nourish your body. It doesn't need any solid food, but it needs a lot of liquids from the inside, but then also from the outside. I'm talking about the skin, for example. So everything gets a bit drier. Of course, you lose a lot of liquids with all the detox process. So then drink a lot of water, drink a lot of herbal infusions. If possible, ecological ones, of course. With them, you can also get some vitamins, if they are good, if they are freshly done, the infusions. But then also nourish your body from the outside, the skin. take oils with the massages, make a good skin detox in a facial treatment, and then nourish it with some masks. So that's another important point. A lot of people tend to forget, no? Because maybe they underestimate that you lose a lot of water. So also often if you feel dizzy, if you have a little headache, if you have some back issues, drink a lot. And so that's a very easy tip, but something that people often don't believe in, that it's so important. And then, for example, me personally, but that's again something very personal, maybe you would also need a little bit more of salt. Often we say you don't need a lot of salt, especially while fasting, because it retains water. But if you tend to lose a lot of liquids and you see it in the skin and you feel it maybe with headaches or any other symptoms, take a little bit more of salt in the soups. So that could be another useful tips, especially for those who do it for the first time. Another very important topic, at least from my side, and I think it's being more and more important these days, is the digital detox part in fasting. So it's a topic that we started as a part of campaign even here at the clinic a few years ago, that people, if they want, patients, can leave their mobile phone, for example, or another electronic device at the reception and have it locked in a safe for a certain time of hours, days, or even during the whole stay, to really try out how it feels without being connected the whole time. This is, of course, locking it somewhere is, of course, the more stricter part, but you can also, of course, make an agreement with yourself while fasting and just leave it, your mobile phone, for a few hours at the room while you're being away, making activities, making a walk, a hike, whatever. And this is already a very good training because we are not used to that. And what often comes out is that we use this time with being not connected, we use it much more efficient than we think. Because then we are really, really focused on what we're doing and not distracted by any news, any calls, anything. And also what was found out is that nowadays we don't have minutes or hours where we really feel bored, because we are always distracted by social media, videos, whatever. So, and this boring time, or the time where you feel bored, can be used for creativity. So often we think we're not creative anymore, but this is very easy to resolve. Just leave the mobile devices and the internet away from you for some hours, and then you will start to think about new ideas. You will start hearing the sound of nature, the birds, seeing an interesting person passing by, and creativity will come back to you. So this digital detox part, maybe it doesn't sound very attractive, but I personally believe it's very, very important, and especially during fasting, because when you fast, you feel you are more open, you are maybe more ready for some external impulses, input, or however you want to call it. Then if we talk more about the mental side and maybe also the spiritual side, every fast can be different. That's especially people who have done it often. They always tell us, well, last time I didn't feel like that, or maybe I didn't have so many days where I felt low, or where I felt a bit more sad, or I wanted to stay more in the room, wanted to be on my own. That's normal. Don't stress yourself because of that. At the end, what we can also always say from the personal side, but then also from what we observe at the clinics, at the end you will always feel better. So then maybe if you feel a bit more down at the beginning, that might be that you're coming from a very hectic life before, that something happened, maybe something very personal, maybe you were also sick before. So it could be that then the fast at the beginning might be a bit more difficult, but don't worry about it, because at the end of the fast you will always come out better than you did before. So don't let that bring you down. And then also take this moment and really, really feel and maybe find out what your body needs in that moment. So maybe it's a topic you try to, you know, push aside in your normal day. But then really take it and work it through, you know, maybe on yourself, on your own, by writing down on a diary or anything, or talk to a professional person about it, a coach, a psychotherapist, as we do here at the clinic. We offer that because that's really the opportunity. So don't try to push it aside and be strong and, you know, I have to just overcome this part. Take it as an opportunity, because what we always see is that during the fast, things just come out that we try to hide. It's a bit like going into a vacation, holiday, even during the weekends. Suddenly, you know, maybe we feel a bit more sick, we feel a bit more down, although we shouldn't, because, you know, it's a joyful moment. But that's maybe because we're coming from a bit more difficult times before. It might be mentally, psychologically, but also maybe physical. You know, the body was fighting against an infection or anything, so that might come out at the beginning. Sometimes we even see it on the skins, you know, that something, you know, a little rush or something comes out, some red dots. We don't know why, but that's maybe because, you know, before we had a very toxifying way of lifestyle. So yeah, that's very important, that it doesn't bring you down. So take it as an opportunity. And then, in general, people who do it for the first time, the fasting, and that's very naturally and logically, they come very, very anxious, especially if maybe, they didn't get the recommendation of family members or someone very next to them to fast, but maybe just the doctor said you have to look at your values, do something to improve them. And they come very anxious because, of course, the topic of or the thinking about not eating makes the people feel anxious. No, it's natural. There, it's very important to really, at the beginning, if you start your fast, if you feel a bit, you know, headaches, little side symptoms, it's normal. It's totally normal. Don't think, oh my God, my body is fighting against it. This is not for me. I won't make it. Of course, if you do it in a medical surrounding like ours, with nurses, with doctors, with a lot of stuff, they would motivate you, which is good. If you try to do it on your own, you should always, we always recommend to really have a person next to you who is really skilled and maybe also medically professional. But really, the first 2 days, they can be a bit more hard. So it's not a journey. It's not a journey. It's not a walk. It's a hike. What we say, no, it's a real mountain hike. It's a stress for the body, of course. The body has to learn to adapt to a new metabolism. But don't let this motivate you. And so then really here, the good thing is that you can always ask the nurses to help you. So if you have some little side symptoms, there are always little tricks and tips. For example, me personally, if I feel very low, have a low blood pressure, you can do very easily the so-called German Kneipp therapies, which are alternating cold and hot water, walking into cold water and then hot water, or also the arms, or taking hot and cold showers. So this is a very, very natural, easy tip that might let you feel better then. So just overcome this 1, 2, maybe 3 days, but normally the third day is perfect, is your body perfectly running on the new system, and then enjoy the rest of the fast. So these were my 5 personal fasting tips. I hope you could find some information that is useful for you. And if you want to try out the fast, we really encourage you and assure you that something very good will come out of it. And you will be very proud of yourself because you challenged your body. And if you liked it, please show it to us with a like. And we have some more videos if you want to watch more. And wish you a good day.